So yours might look different. There's a dark theme and a light theme. I think mine has set to my system default, so it might be dark in the evenings and bright in the daytime. You can change that how you feel. All right, so this is what it looks like when you land in here. If you've never used Visual Studio Code, or if you have, you might notice that it's very, very similar to Visual Studio Code. That's because VS Code is open source, and so a lot of people just use that as a baseline for a code editor and then build on top of it, and that's exactly what Google have done here. And over on the right-hand side, so I'll just kind of minimize everything, and I can show you sort of how things open as we go along. On the right-hand side, there's these few icons up the top here that allow you to turn the agent window on and off. And so this probably looks very familiar. You can type commands in there, and we'll do that in a minute. On the left-hand side, there's what does this one do? Is that? Oh yeah, so that will open and close that. So you can toggle that one open and close on the left-hand side. You can also just click on different aspects here. So I've landed in a folder. It's opened up a directory that I was already in. If yours might have a big button here saying like open folder. So to get the same experience, you can also just go to File, click Open Folder. You might want to create a new folder for the workshop. So workshop, something maybe. What should I call it? AG. Here we go. AGY workshop. Anti-gravity workshop. Great. And I'm going to open that one. So I'll open a new one. Okay. And so it's opened this up. Here there's an empty folder. So that's just a folder on my computer. I can navigate to that folder. If I go to AGY workshop, it's just a folder on my computer. It's currently empty. I can drag and drop files in there as I please, using your file explorer. And we will slowly fill this up with content as we go today. So yeah, you can navigate around your system there. So open and close that. There's a bunch of other sort of windows here. We might talk about those as we get to them, but they're if you're familiar with VS Code, they're exactly the same as VS Code. Okay, so just going back, we'll get started straight out of the bat. So going back to my first example here, we can put a prompt in and see how we go. So the first prompt I'm going to say is, your goal is to show if temperature has changed in Sydney, Australia. You can substitute that with whatever you like, and I'll put this in. So I'm going to type over here, your goal is to show how temperature has changed in Sydney, Australia. All right, and there's a couple of options there. You can add different context to the prompt, so you can add files and everything like you would in the web browser. You can pick which model you want. I'll just use the low and fast one. There's a free tier, so you'll be hopefully contained in the free tier today, but then you can pay for more usage. But at some point you'll sort of hit the limit, and it'll give you a cooldown and say, oh, you can't run a model for 10 hours or whatever it happens to be. And they're in different groups as well. So there's a couple of Gemini Flash ones, Gemini Pro, and then the group of the external models. So there's Claude and some GPT models. All right, so I'll execute that. And let's see how we go. So depending on how things are configured, I think I've stripped my anti-gravity back to defaults. So it should hopefully work similar to everyone else's, but things might act differently. The end result might be different. Okay, cool. So it's done something, and there's a lot of settings and everything that I'll talk about as we go through, because there's a bunch of tweaks that we can just make as we go. So it's thought about things, taken 21 seconds, and it says, I've created a comprehensive implementation plan to build a stunning, premium, and fully interactive climate dashboard. So without giving it any sort of details, it's decided that it wants to give me a climate dashboard. So it's going to be like a website with JavaScript and HTML. So I guess that's fine. You know, you could nudge it in a certain direction by saying, oh, can you please write it in Python? Can you please use an RShiny dashboard or something? Or can you just write me a report? So there's a few ways, things open for interpretation there. And it's giving me this implementation plan. I'm just going to close this, so I've got lots of real estate. So it hasn't done much yet, and I can now read through this plan, and it tells me, you know, what it's going to do. So it's going to build a Sydney climate trends visualizer, a premium interactive single page web page. Note, we will build a pure front end single page application styled with this. Okay, open Meteor historical weather API in case it's local storage. Great. It's going to be in that folder, so that's fine. And I might just say create. So I can make a comment here, and I'll say create a subfolder and put everything in it called demo1. Okay. And then besides that, I can make other comments about changes, saying, you know, maybe look at certain periods, use different data sets or something, but this looks okay. Good. Okay, so then I can go up and hit proceed, and it will then proceed with the plan. So whilst it's doing that, I might just flag something. I think the default setting was for it to stop there and ask us about, you know, how would you like to proceed? Here's what I've written. How would you like to continue? So if you click down in the bottom right-hand corner where it says anti-gravity settings, there's this auto execution and review policy. And so these options basically allow how much autonomy you want to give to the agent. And just on that, it's interrupted me, and it said, would you allow this command to run? And I could say yes. I think this might not work for me though, because it's going to run Python 3, but I think I don't think that alias exists on my computer. So I'll just say run that, but using Python instead of Python 3. Okay, submit. Hopefully that will work. Yeah, so down in the, oh, okay. So they just refactored that command for me. Okay, so yes, run that, and then hopefully that works. We'll see. Okay, so it looks like it's finished. So fantastic. So it's performed this thing, and now it will it unpacks, you know, what it's done. So it says it's created this walkthrough document. So all these documents it creates, the implementation plan, the walkthrough, they're kind of temporary items that exist in this. They're files that get created on your computer in some sort of temporary directory, but you can save these. They're called artifacts, and you can save them as you want. I think there's a button up there called export artifact, and you might want to keep this as a as a README in that file or something. And it tells me, you know, we have successfully designed this artifact, and we've used this API to pull it in. It pulls in 1.8 megabytes of data, and we have to run a Python server and then view it here. So it tells us how to run that. Okay, and then it's created all these files. So if I open up my my file explorer, I see it's made that demo1 folder. It's made this website for me. I'd be interested to know, yeah, how different or similar things are. I'll constantly open and close things as I try and maintain some screen real estate. If you're familiar with HTML, I mean, looks like HTML there, some CSS, which makes it colorful, and the JavaScript, which probably does most of the data collection from this web API, which I've never heard of, but Antigravity seemed to suggest it. Okay, let me open up my agent again. Oops, where to go here? Oh yeah, and then it asks here, like it's created all these things and it says, would you like to reject this or accept it? Sometimes it will change files. In this case, it's created them. So we see that it's added 177 lines and removed 0. And so if I click accept, I basically get those files and they'll be saved permanently. Sorry, yeah, I'm just looking at the chat comments. Abdullah, yes, Maina, thank you for posting the link there. So that's the notebook we're loosely following. I've only written one command in so far. And yeah, that's interesting that you don't have permission to download it. Okay, no, I don't know a workaround for that, sorry. Can follow along anyway. Okay, so yeah, it's given me this this plan, and now often it will display it. In my case, it hasn't. I'm going to open up my terminal, and it should open up here where I want. I'll need to change directories to my demo 1. You can see the files in there. So this is like an integrated terminal that comes with the Antigravity IDE, and then I'm going to run that command that we had earlier. Does it say exactly what it is? Oh, it's actually not in there. Okay, I know it though. So it's Python -m, is it? http.server. Oh, okay, maybe it is running somewhere. So let me go to this address that it's opened up. Where is it? Here. Oh yeah, look at this. Look at this great. Oh, cool. That's pretty cool. So it's just built this straight off the bat. It must be running the server. I don't know exactly where, which is a little bit concerning because I don't know how to stop it. But we can figure that out. Sorry, and I skipped over. I could tell that because it says address already in use. So I just kind of assumed that it was already running. So yeah, here's the annual temperature anomaly since between 1950 and 2025, taking the average between 1950 and 1980. So that's how much temperature change. It's made a nice little infographic here. It's got some buttons, and obviously we could have massaged this as well. Pretty good, actually. I'm very impressed. So the extreme heat days and decadal seasonal shift. Is there much of a seasonal shift? Not too much. Maybe, what's that? The 2020s. Oh yeah, the 2020s are a bit hotter in the summer and a bit cooler in the winter. Okay, very good. We use different averages. Very cool. So anyway, that's basically it. You know, you give it a prompt, and then you go to town on it. It does everything for you. But let's deep dive. Let's dig down and see what kind of features we can pull out. You know, that's very similar to the web interface, I guess, except it would just print out maybe one file at a time. So that's the beauty of the IDE, is that it has the context of your local machine and everything. Okay, so I mentioned the settings. So we have these auto execution policies on. So request a review, you can have it always proceed, you know, if you don't want to have to click approve, or next, because sometimes it will ask questions. And so one executes commands like the Python command and bash commands. The other one reviews policies, so the implementation plans. And then is there anything else interesting? Yeah, I might turn some of these off as we go, but they're probably the two main things to be aware of there. Okay, so back in the notes, I think when I first ran this, it automatically it didn't actually use any data. It just used like literature. It did a literature search, so it was like a very different kind of approach to the problem. So, you know, just keep that in mind. Prompting is sort of important. So I added a second prompt afterwards. So I could add a prompt in here. Is there any literature to back up this data? or something. And it has the context of this chat plus the context of sort of what's created. It's pretty good at finding context, so it might dig into some of the results, some of the files that it's created. But in this case, it's pretty simple. It's just kind of grabbed a bunch of references and printed them out straight in the chat. So, you know, sometimes it will just be really quick and do stuff in the chat. Other times it will create a plan, and other times it will create files. So it kind of, it's not always predictable, I think. And I sort of pointed out that, like, I tried to run Python 3. I knew that would fail, so I said use Python only, not Python 3, because I don't have that alias on my computer. But you can specify and say, you know, run tests in the Conda environment, or OzTemp or something. Which brings me to the next sort of paradigm, this idea of skills and rules. So this is a concept in all these platforms. So a skill, this is an open standard that exists. I've linked to the Antigravity documentation there. But yeah, skills are, they exist across kind of like all coding agents. And it's an open standard. I think it was developed by Anthropic. So now all the big players, they all use the same format, which is fantastic, because when an agent sees this skill, it kind of knows what to do with it. And it's really basic. A skill is fundamentally, it's a bit of text, which is, it's an example skill I have here. It has this metadata at the top that says that you have to say name, colon, and then give it a name, and then description, and give it a description. And when Antigravity loads up, it will load all of this into its context. So that's important to keep in mind, that it loads all these skills, and it costs tokens, I guess, to put this in its context. But it has an idea of, like, you know, this thing exists. I have some idea of what it's for. So this is called Python environment, and it tells me always work with the Conda environment called G2G when a user needs Python. Okay, cool. And then, so hopefully anytime Python is mentioned, it will then open this up and actually then read the rest of it. And so it only reads the rest of it once it sort of figures out that it needs that particular skill. And then it will go through and read the rest of, it's just markdown format. So it's literally like a prompt that you pass to the model, and it says, oh yeah, cool, when you need Python, you have to, and no other environments are specified, use this particular skill, and before executing Python commands, ensure that the G2G Conda environment is active. Okay, cool. So let's put that in. Let's go back here, and I will put this in by, where do I put it? I have to, can I do it straight from here? No, I have to add it to, okay, there's a few ways to put it in. The easiest would probably to create a file in this workspace. So over here, if I create a new folder called, oh, I don't want it in there, I want it in the top level, sorry. Let me make sure I make it in the top level, there we go, called .agents. And then, what's it called? Skills. .agents, I need to create another folder called skills, and then I create another folder called, this is, you can call it whatever you want, you know, my Python skill or something. And then the important part is you have to create a new file called skill, or caps.md, and then we can paste our skill in there. I'll go back, I'll just copy this, paste it in there, and I think that will work. So I have a Python environment called G2G, so I'll use that. Okay. Sorry, yeah, a prerequisite maybe I didn't mention. Hopefully Python is installed on your machine. If not, Antigravity can install it for you, so you keep that in mind. Okay, cool. So now, now that skill exists, I'm going to go back to my agent. I haven't done anything else. And I'm just going to say, please, I've got this other prompt here. But I'll just say, please make a temperature heat map using Python. Okay. And look at that, it grabbed this Python skill straight away. It's looking in here, it's reading demo 1. It's going to see what, so it's asking me, would you like to run this command? And I'll say, yes, allow this time. Hopefully that works. Okay, so looking at what packages are already installed in the in my Python list. Okay, and it's thinking about it, and now here it goes generate heat map. So it's putting it in this demo 1, and it's telling me how to run it. Yes, run that. And so now, anytime throughout this workshop, anytime we invoke Python, it's going to activate that skill, probably, hopefully, I guess, if that's what we want. Okay, so created one file. So I'll say accept, and it's going to do it. Now it's going to run it. Good stuff. Okay, so it made it, and it made this markdown file. Oh, there we go. There's a heat map of everything. So let me. So it made this and embedded it into the markdown file. This is just a an artifact. So if I want to keep it, I can click save, or I can just run that generate heat map for me. So it's made this heat map of temperatures in Sydney throughout time based on months. Very good. That's kind of what we wanted. Okay, any questions at the moment? Okay, as this agent skill is within that, okay, does that mean the skill? Yes, correct. So that it's only available in this workshop. So you can set skills at the, at the project level. So it always has to be .agent/skill and then your skills. Or we'll go to the notes. Okay, here, here, it says, if you put them in your home folder, .gemini/config skills, and then in this skill folder, that's global. So that will be accessible for all projects that you create. So there's kind of 2 different ways that you can do that. Okay, and yeah, I guess benefits to both, depending on who you are, what you want to do, and everything. Okay, and just be a bit careful of downloading skills from the internet. Some of the skills, so we can look at, I've got an example here of some skills. You can just download skills because they're just text files. So this is a skill marketplace I just linked from the notes across all coding agents. And we can find, we can search for one, or what have we got here? Skills marketplace. There we go. Okay. If we can find, you can find different skills that people have written. You can modify them. Let's go to image processing. If we want to generate an image, there we go. So that's a good one. So I think Antigravity can generate images using things like Nano Banana. But if you wanted to not use Nano Banana and use something else, you can say, hey, here's a skill to override, your default information. And if I click on view, so it gives you the details of how this will generate. Oops. Okay, that one doesn't seem to work. Why didn't that one work? Return to, let me try a different one. Image. Oh, good one. Image gen. There we go. That was the one I was looking at earlier. So image gen. Let me view this one. Okay. Wait. Do I have to be signed in or something? Let me sign in. Sorry. 1 second. Hey, just logging into GitHub. This. Oh no, that's not working either. Okay. Well, in the details, it's in the details anyway. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's a download. All right, that's probably what I want. So it's just a markdown file like before. I just click download. Did that work? Maybe. Where are my downloads? Okay. Hopefully that's working a bit better for you. But anyway, I just wanted to view it in a nicer format. But this is literally just markdown. So you can see it's much more detailed than my skill that I wrote, which is very short. It has like specific commands to run, bash commands. It has sort of extra bits of information to pull into it. It has all these different options that the model will then know how to use. So all we're doing is giving the model some knowledge and some preferences. So we say, hey, read this. And then if someone says like, make an image, we want you to go and execute, this code or find what's relevant within this whole thing. So if someone says, oh yeah, build me a model and use Gemini, it will probably use the Google API key and won't use one of the OpenAI API key and so on. But you can see they're quite complex, and you can understand that someone could hide malicious code in there, so we'll always be a bit wary. But yes, so that's skills in a nutshell, and we'll see a few more skills as we go along. The other thing that you can set is this idea of rules, and rules are kind of like system prompts, if you remember, if you're familiar with system prompts. And so to set a rule, you can do that up here. I'll go create a new file. Just get some of my screen real estate. I can close that. Close that. I can close these. Okay. Up here in my agent view, so I've opened that panel again. And if I click on customization, I can add a rule here. And so again, I can add a workspace rule or a global rule. And if I do a global rule and say, again, this is just markdown. So format, I can write coding preference, use R code for any analysis and data viz required. Okay, good. So, and I'll just say as well, tidy verse. There we go. Okay, so that's a rule. There we go. It's set. It is. If I click on it, I can click edit rule, and it will open it back up. It's saved in this. It's saved in that same .gemini folder, in this Gemini.markdown folder file. And if you add more, they'll get added to that same thing. And so now, if I go back to my agent and click on make a heat map, I can get more and more vague because it will read my it will read the context. There we go. It's found generate heat map. Let's see if it's going to run it. Oh, there we go. So it's asking me to install R. So it figured out, it read this Python script and went, hold on a second, I'm gonna run R. So I can run that and see if it install it. I might just skip that one though, and we'll persevere. But you can see how that picked up this this preference. So you might have like a rule there. So yeah, there's definitely an overlap between skills and rules. I think more complex things definitely go in skills, and rules are much more simpler, like only do X if Y or something. Let's just pause that one. I'll click cancel, and we'll go on. Okay. Radek, question about support for research in terms of tokens for anti-gravity. I think kind of, yeah. So you can get research credits. You can apply for research credits, and you can link anti-gravity to a Google Cloud project and use credits via that. But there's no direct. So there's also like token credits, which is like a different thing. I don't think there's any research specific credits for that. But that would be the way to go. Get research credits and then link a cloud project to it. And is there a version control functionality in Antigravity? Yeah, so over here, it's more of a VS Code. There's a source control button on the left, and it basically, if you're familiar with VS Code, if you're familiar with Git and GitHub, you can create a GitHub repository. It definitely is aware of the concept of repositories and everything. So yeah, it is the short answer. I will send a link to Google Cloud Research Credits. Yep, definitely not interested, sure. Definitely recommend applying for this. Apply. There we go. Where's the application? Oh, there. Okay, good. Cool. So, all right, that was example one. How are we doing? That took a while, but that's okay because, yeah, we've covered lots of sort of concepts already. All these examples just kind of like build on capabilities that you might come across. So far, we've created stuff just from scratch. The second example is, if you already had data and you want Antigravity to do something with that data. So let's do that. There's some code up here which just downloads basically downloads this data set. I can actually just go to that link. Oh, okay, it's automatically downloading this for me. There's probably, so that's the download link directly. Maybe if I do, oh, that's the API, that's why. Okay, sorry, let me just search for human face emotions on Kaggle. So I was downloading this data set of human face emotions, literally just pictures, and in each folder, I think are pictures of human faces and a tag of their anger or happy or sad or something. So let me just download those to Antigravity, which I can do. Okay, I'm just going to close the agent manager for a second. I'm going to bring up my terminal. I'll close that source control. I'm going to create a new folder. So make the demo2, change directories to demo2. I'm then going to execute those two commands, curl. So curl downloads it, although I just downloaded it, and unzip will unzip it, assuming unzip is installed. So this isn't Antigravity related, but it shows you, if you haven't used VS Code, super cool that you can, has this terminal built in, so you can immediately sort of interact with it like that. And question, if we define global rules or skills, are they going to also be used? Oh, good question. I think so, yes. Yeah, so the path is the dot Gemini, which works across the whole Antigravity suite. So yeah, keep that in mind. And if you define them in other apps, they'll all be used as well. Maybe not if you're using like Claude Code or something. I don't know where the default path is for that. But yeah, I think you can also specify like where to put these things. Okay, cool. So I have these human face emotion. Oh, I can't unzip it. That's because I don't have unzip install. So I'm on a Chromebook. Pip install unzip. Oh, I didn't want to actually use pip, but that's okay. Unzip human faces. I didn't want pip. Sorry. Apt install sudo apt install human unzip. I just want to unzip it. Uh-oh. Did that work? Okay. Let's just do it this way. Sorry. Extract. How do I unzip this? Great. Extract data. Good. All right, there's one way to do it. So all I did was download this folder of data and unzip it. 700 megabytes, it looks like. So the next thing we're going to do is just tell Antigravity, hey, I have this data, do something with it. So we can be very, you can make Antigravity work harder, and it will try and dig down into the files and folders and figure out like what it has to work with. You can be a bit more helpful and say, write a TensorFlow model to classify the images of facial expressions. And so let's do that. I'll just copy that. I currently have my R rule in force, so I'm going to turn that off. So I'll go back to customizations, and I might just, I can probably delete it. Can I turn this off? I think I can. I could turn it off somehow. That's all right. I'll just delete it. Okay. Now, while that's, I think that's still copying. So there's also this concept of workflows, and so a workflow is like, oh, that doesn't copy yet. Okay, I might stuff this up. That's okay. Let's go back here. There's this concept of workflows that you can tie things together. So a good workflow might be like, hey, whenever you create a new file, run git commit and save it, and save the branch name as like the current experiment that I'm working on, or something like that. So you can do workflows. They're very, very similar. It's just, again, markdown files. Okay, let me try this, even though it's still unzipping. I think, oh yeah, that's probably enough. Probably have too many. So let's go write a TensorFlow in the demo2/data folder. Okay, so this is just an example of how it can discover. Oh, it's still going to use my skill. That's fine. That was the Python one, so that's good. I want Python. It's going to import. It's going to check that I have TensorFlow. I think I do. So yeah, it still picked up my skill. And then it might do things. Okay, there we go. TensorFlow version 2.15. It's good. Don't know why it says time expired. I'm still moving stuff in my moving data around, just taking longer than I expected. Is that happening here? Close. Oh, sorry, I just closed my anti-gravity. Okay. Okay, so it just crashed. I think that's just due to me trying to move my data, move data around. I'll just open it back up, and hopefully it should didn't immediately come back to where I was, but that's okay. I'll open up the AGI workshop. And I can click on my history. So you can always revisit past conversations and open them back up to get that context. And I can just say continue. And it should hopefully continue. No, use the data in data. Saying, would you like to unzip it? So it's fine. Okay, submit. Okay, so it's only fine angry and fear. That's fine. Anyway, yeah, the point is that it is working with the data that we have and going from there. Okay, would you like to run this command? So it's running some Python commands. So we can turn it off so we just trust the model, but we may not want to do that. Okay, so I might kill that just in the interest of time and everything. Skip it, stop, and let's persevere. Okay, so and another fun thing it can do is update existing code. So let's try that. That one would have written code directly, based on data. So if I download this example script, what happens if I click on that? There's a script here. It's not very well commented, but basically it does some bioinformatics processing where it looks at different k-mers in FASTQ files, and I think it doesn't do a very good job at it. So I'm just going to copy that, go back to my Antigravity. I'll make a new folder called demo 3. Put that. I'm just going to move that into the top. Okay, and I'll create a new file called kmer.py. All right, and I just save there. So just imagine you have this script, someone's given it to you, like, fantastic, what am I supposed to do with this? There's not very many comments or anything. Let's ask it what it does. So you say, what does, and you can do an @ and say kmer.py do. And it should give me a description of it. And then it counts k-mers within gzip FASTQ files. Here's a breakdown. It accepts a FASTQ file. So it gives me just a brief summary there, and it's finished. And now I can say, can you make this run faster on my laptop? Okay, let's have a look. So it's going to run, it's running my Python environment. Fantastic. Checks out what we've got. And it's giving me an implementation plan. So let's open up the implementation plan, and I click on there, just hide it, hide my terminal as well. And okay, so the proposed changes, so it's going to optimize the passing of this. So it's going to use this iterator loop, placing it with this sequence thing. It's going to optimize the accumulation. So it tells me how it's going to do this. Okay, and it's going to create these dummy ones and benchmark it. So I'll just click proceed, and then we'll see how it goes. And we'll see, hopefully that will, okay, so it's, what's it doing there? Oh, so it is, yeah, it's creating this dummy FASTQ file in a temporary directory. So it's like this long, angry looking path, but it's just an example file that it's created. That's another great thing that Antigravity, I guess, LLMs can do in general, is make dummy data. So here's some real data. Can you make some dummy data for this? Okay. 500,000 reads, it seems like a lot. That's fine. And okay, while you're asking that, yes, there is a way. If you go into settings, so up here in the top right-hand corner, question is how many, can you see how many tokens you've used? So if you look on, I'll just click yes. You click on the gear icon, and then there's editor settings, which is like changing the font, changing the colors, and that kind of thing. So a few other options. There's anti-gravity settings, and this is all about anti-gravity, and we should definitely spend time in here. Okay, firstly, the thing that jumps out is this agent security mode. At the moment, I think the default is for it to have full access to your machine. Before it jumps out, it usually asks for permission, but you can sort of make that not even ask and set to this sandboxed or strict environment. So it won't jump out of the folder. It won't try and read things in other places. It won't execute commands in other places. So there's some important options in there. I think that's probably the main one to keep in mind. You can exclude certain commands like, don't do rm, remove. But on the left-hand side, yeah, we're in permissions. Down in models, I believe, is your quota, and I think there's supposed to be some sort of I think these are the bands that tell you how many credits you've used. Now, and mine's going to refresh in an hour, which is convenient. And what else is there as well? Oh yeah, this is a new feature. So previously people had written add-ons to show you how much quota, but then I think Antigravity has now provided that information. And there's some more options that we'll talk about. That's my account. Is there anything else? I'm on the AI Pro plan. I think yeah, if you're on the free plan, you definitely don't get as many goes. Oh, good question, Chris. I don't think so. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's no way you can sort of truncate how much, and it's almost unpredictable as well. Like, if you like say write me a short Python script or something, is it going to do one thing or another? Yeah, it's hard to predict. Okay, so I'll point out this is finished now, and you can see it's actually modified this script. So that might be a good thing. So it shows you, what's changed in this. So they've fully rewritten this central part. I accidentally clicked the accept changes, but there's sometimes like an accept, and you can go through and click accept or deny for each line as you go through as well. Okay, and it tells me, it gives me this summary as well, exactly what it did and sort of why it did those things. And then that's all written in the walkthrough as well. So it actually ran that too. So the regional version took 45 seconds, and the new version takes 3 seconds. Wow, that's it's pretty good. So, and then you can go on. Oh, Chris, that's yeah, that's no good. I know that the quotas used to be quite liberal, but they've gotten stricter, and I think the latest release is actually, unfortunately, like the free tier is not ideal. You can use if you have another account, you can switch accounts, but keep that in mind. Okay, so yes, and you can use I'm using Flash Low. Obviously, you get different performance with each of the different models, but sometimes using the Flash Low, you might not be very good. So it might be actually worth spending a bit more with the Pro. And also, it hasn't been released like how many tokens equals your quota. People usually figure that out, but they haven't reverse engineered that exactly yet. Okay, and then yeah, you could continue that saying like, yeah, you use this, please optimize that further by putting it on a HPC or something, and hopefully that will figure out, here we go, I'll do this, I'll run it. So I've been given access to the NCI HPC, how to run this on many FastQ files on that machine. So that's a real specific high performance computer in Australia, and that one found it really quickly. So that's a loaded question that I asked it. There's lots of different ways to sort of run that on that machine, and you could either use they have specific like ways to parallelize on the NCI HPC, and I wonder if it's going to actually figure it out. So did it get it right? It probably didn't, because it says use PBS job arrays, but I know that PBS job arrays don't exist on NCI. So I purposely asked that question to see if it would figure it out. If you use Pro, it probably would go and read the documentation and figure out that, like, oh, I have to use this NCI parallel command. And also it may change your code locally. So there's a few ways to interpret that question. But if you're totally new, like just saying go for it, like it'll probably give an okay result. Yeah, okay, did it figure it? Oh yeah, okay, so it loaded this GNU parallel. So it gave us a second method, and that one would work well. There you go, and it tells you how to submit it. Cool. Okay, one more. We'll have a quick break in a second, but I'll just I'll run example 4. So I'll get this one going. I'll just start a new chat, kind of close things up. Doesn't take things that are open into its context by default, by all means. Okay, just closing things. Close that as well. And I'm just going to say, recreate the figure 1 from the paper at, and I want to see what happens. So hopefully, I've said in the notes there that we could make it easier. We could download the figure and say, recreate this figure for us. So it looks like it's maybe found it. There's a built-in web browser. I was hoping it would invoke the web browser and go to that site, download the file. So, but it's actually just searching offline. So maybe it doesn't need to invoke the web browser. But if you've done any sort of like, automated web stuff, okay, so it's actually cloning this directory. I don't know why. Sure, I'll just say go for it. Yeah, if you've done automated web stuff, like some things, you just can't automate, and so you need like a functional web browser to go and like click and move something out of the window, because things get automatically, like windows will pop up and code can't see that, but a web browser can. So I think that's one of the cool things of Antigravity. It has a built-in browser. I thought it would actually do that, but it hasn't. Instead, it's downloaded, maybe it's found the example from the paper. Okay, there we go. So it's downloaded this, told me how to run it. Yeah, let's run it. Why not? We'll see. While it's doing that, we can go and have a look at what figure 1 looks like. This was just a random Nature article. So figure 1, this guy here, so TTVS. So it's the young progenitor for the most common planetary systems in the galaxy. And this looks like some sort of light curve or something like that. Okay, so I wonder if it's going to be able to do this. We could have just downloaded it and said use synthetic data or something, but we'll get the full approach. It has been started. Oh, expired. Anyway, while that thinks about it, let's have a 5-minute break. Spamming the share button, and it did a very, very good job at recreating this figure. So I remember running this 6 months ago when we first did this course, and I was like really impressed because it saw the figure and then generated synthetic data and made it kind of like fairly quickly, but pretty good. This time, and it came up with a workflow for how to create that figure. This time it's actually gone and found like the notebooks that we use to create those figures in the paper, and it's used the actual data, which is also very impressive. So it did a very, very good job. Yeah, it found the GitHub repos, it cloned them, and it reproduced the results exactly, which I think is very cool, to be honest. And if I just compare it with the original, so there's the original. I'm sure it did 4 panels instead of 2 side by side instead of verticals, but it's pretty good. Yeah, I think the data is exactly the same. So how about that? So there's a good way. If you see a figure in a paper or want to reproduce someone's results, you can say, please recreate this for me. Okay. So next up, now one thing that I haven't had too much, I guess, too much success with, or maybe I have and I haven't realized. You can spin up sort of multiple agents as one at once, and I think this is also kind of changed in the most recent update. I think maybe you can't directly do it in the IDE anymore. You need the Antigravity 2.0 to spin up multiple agents at one time. But I think the IDE might just automatically spin up agents as it needs them to do different tasks. And I haven't really found, I guess, a use case where I've wanted to, I was so desperate for time that I wanted, this running and this running at the same time, but rather I can just kind of wait and see. Maybe science is a bit more like that. You kind of more procedural and you want to see what something is before moving on to the next. But anyway, I had some examples there of these different prompts that you can perform. So, doing a literature review whilst also setting up the data, whilst also writing the code. So the literature review, the data, the code, and then the conclusion. But I guess, they're not, I don't think they're parallel items. Generally you do the literature review to figure out what data you'd need and then write code. So maybe that's not a fantastic example, but you can you can try it out if you want. And yeah, so the idea is that you can run sort of multiple agents at the same time. I think it will work if I click new conversation and then I'll do 1 and 3, and then if I look at my history, maybe it's still running. Yeah, I think they're both running simultaneously, so you can still do that. Blocked on my inputs, I can go back and say yes, allow that. So I'll just grab some real estate back. Anyway, yeah, the concept there is that you can run multiple agents in parallel. And I think, I'll just click proceed. I'll just trust it. One of the big demos at Google I/O was they created an operating system using like 100 simultaneous agents, which is fantastic if you want to build an operating system. But if you're not doing that, maybe you don't need so much power and burning so many tokens. Okay, so submit, yes. Anyway, yeah, that seems to be going on. Good stuff. So that seemed to have finished already. Analysis up high. There we go. Look at that. Correlation between earthquakes and lunar cycles, fact or fiction? I think the conclusion, is there a relation? The answer is nuanced. Fiction. As a predictive tool, the idea that a full moon or new moon directly causes. All right, so there's a literature review which it's performed. It hasn't done any great referencing or anything like that. I can't see any. There's a few references down the bottom, but is the other one still running? There we go. So that one's still running as well. Okay, we'll see how that goes when it finishes. Sure. So this is running the code to make some figures or something for it. So, all right. Meanwhile, while that's thinking, another example, like it's not limited to plain text or anything. You can work with doc files. So I have an example there in download. Oh, I download this. Download. Yeah, I'll download it. Yeah, I think docx will work just for demo purposes. Let me go back. Okay, and then I just need to move it into my Linux, my AGY workshop. I'll put that one, AGY workshop. Good. Ah, cool. And that one finished as well, it seems. It's written some code. And it's actually, yeah, that's kind of interesting. So it's found the, oh, let me clean up my workspace. Sorry, not too much screen real estate. Let me just, where are we? Earthquake Luna, close that one, open that one. There's my plot. Oh, how cool is that? Look at that. earthquakes and lunar cycles related, and it seems like not that much in terms of the study that it's done. Earthquake frequency versus lunar phase angle. Nice plot though. So yeah, we can see that it's pretty consistent over the month. All right, anyway, so that was a parallel processing. Let me close these down and get us back to here. So I've just downloaded this grant. Let me make a new folder. Demo, what are we up to? Demo 6. Rename. Demo 6. Put the grant in there. Very good. Are you sure you want to move this? Yes, move it to demo 6. Good. So we'll keep it nice and tidy. And I'll create a new conversation. And now I will, okay. And so I'll say, read the proposal in I'm going to say at grant v1 docx. So that way it reads that into context. And then I'll just copy the rest of this. That's just some proposal I randomly generated with Gemini on. I can't even open it. It's docx file. So it's importing. It's using Python to, I think maybe to install it. So no module called docx. So it's going to install it for me. It's going to somehow read it. Oh, there we go. So it managed to read it. So it pulls in tools as it requires them. Okay. So yeah, if you have a grant proposal, maybe you want to put it with your code and your data and everything and your literature and say, here's my proposal. Am I missing anything? Can you update it? Can you make any suggestions? The cool thing is that it can pull in that whole context that, using the chat interface might be a bit harder to do. Okay. Just thinking, good. Yes, allow that. Good, it's making all these. So converted it from docx. It looks like it extracted the text, which I guess it's fine. I thought it read it natively, but that's okay. Maybe it's because I'm forcing Python. And I could read these. I am reading them quickly. I'm not just naively pressing yes. I can see that it's not a Git repository. That's fine. I think in that prompt I specifically said methodology, budget, and something else, but it doesn't actually use. So it's now going on a bit of a red herring, like it's searching for grant stuff in my folders. Say there are no other data. Just modify the file. Okay. Sorry, was there a question? Someone put their hands up. That in the CLI, I know we can use our own defined agents. Is that possible to access them in the IDE too? Oh, Pablo. I'm not sure about that actually. Yeah, I don't know. I assume so. Yeah, I haven't come across that example. That sounds good though. Roughly speaking, how much do the tokens to run the example set cost? Oh, okay, great question. I would say, yeah, okay. Let me think. Have I run through this in any other platform? If you were to run this, it would be, okay, probably less than $1, I would say. You can get an idea of tokens. So AI Studio token costs, I think it's like, where is it? So if we're using Flash, 3.5 Flash, per million tokens is $1.50. And yeah, we might use in USD, sorry, and then output is more. So yeah, we're probably using about 1 million tokens by the end of all of these examples, maybe, I think. What's the name on there? $2 and $4 for the Pro. Okay. Good question. Yeah, I was trying to figure out how you can measure the number of tokens used in a session or something, but I could not see that. If anyone knows how to do that or if that's possible, that would be good. All right. What are the questions? There are some ways to estimate. Oh, there you go. Thanks, Mario. Let's move to a compute consumption rate, which I haven't looked at. Yeah. Everything changed last week, so it's still fresh. And can you run several machine learning models on the same data simultaneously? Good question, Charles. I think that, yeah, I mean, maybe. I think that comes down to that's more of a compute read IO input output question. If you're trying to read the same file at the same time, there's probably some sort of bottleneck that you'll face. From a LLM perspective, I assume it could do that, but I would think a compute question would be harder. All right, so what's it done for us? It has the analysis, and basically it's come up with a few references and suggestions for what we should do to change this. Come up with compute estimates. I asked it for compute estimates for what it would cost for our grant. So yeah, there you go. It's kind of cool. So it's actually updated the file directly. I don't think I can open this on my machine though. That would be interesting to see. So it's made it's then cleaned up after itself. So it's actually deleted all those Python files and everything it created, and then just removed them. So yeah, as it's gone along, it's just deleted them. We can still caption them if we want to keep them, but yeah, we probably don't need them. Oh yeah, so that's pretty interesting. Cool. Okay. All right, so we're burning through these examples. How are we doing? So what have we seen? We've seen basic prompts, how we can nudge the models with our prompts, or we can use our skills or rules to nudge them even further, and make very strong suggestions about how the model should behave and what tools it should use. We've seen how it can work with our data that we have on our computer already. We've seen how it can update existing code. We've seen how it can reproduce results from figures. I was hoping it would show us the built-in browser, but it didn't do that. We've seen multi-agent orchestration, seen grant writing. So the next thing I want to talk about is MCP servers. So you may have heard of an MCP server. It's a model context protocol. It is an open protocol. So I think this was also developed by Anthropic. It's basically a way, just like HTTP or SCP or all these different protocols that exist. There's some sort of technological standard of interaction, and so it's a way for our agents to interact with the world, and remote servers, they're the main things, how they interact with the world. But it's a way for agents to interact with computers, basically, a bit easier than just sort of free text, because remember, these large language models, they're just text-based agents, so they just know words, and so by using these MCP servers, we won't make them invent new words, and those words might be code, write new code in order to perform a task that's already been solved. So a classic example is using an API. So if we want to query some remote server, and in fact, something might be like looking at a docx file. Like it had to write some Python code in order to read that docx file. But maybe there was a better way to do that. We could have said, hey, instead of writing this whole thing from scratch, just use this tool that already exists. And so MCP servers expose that. So we say every time you interact with some service, whether that That could be like a website like ArXiv, could be like nature.com. It could be, in our example, we're going to use something called BigQuery. So BigQuery is a Google Cloud platform service which hosts data sets, basically. Instead of writing from scratch some code to interact with it, just use these tools that we've already said. And so the MPC server just exposes those tools and says, hey, here's your list. It's kind of like a skill that says, oh, you're an agent. Here's a list of tools that you have available. So let's do that, okay? So I'm just going to click new conversation. And if I click up in the top for additional options, and I click MCP servers, there's a bunch of pre-configured MCP servers. I don't think a lot are super relevant in research. Maybe they are, you know, a lot of these like tech microservices, if you're doing like web hosting and that kind of thing. But one that I think is relevant that's built in is BigQuery, where you can it's like Google Earth Engine. You can go and download like cool data sets from there, basically. And so if you click on this one that's built into Antigravity, you can see that it pops up here. And let's just give myself some screen real estate, and it explains what this BigQuery MCP server does. So it enables AI-powered development tools to seamlessly connect, interact, and generate data insights with BigQuery datasets. Okay, and then it tells me sort of how to install it, how to use it. But basically how to use it, you just say find tables, and then every time it searches for a table, it will preference, oh, I'm searching for tables, I might use the BigQuery server. So I'm going to click install. Oh, do I need I might need a project ID. Okay, I didn't realize that. So I'm going to use one of my project IDs, and the location, that's optional. So that's a GCP project ID. Okay, and it's not, NPX is not found on path. Oh, right, okay. So it needed something called NPX installed, which I don't have installed. Should I install it? Let's quickly, can I download this? Linux. Sorry, I'm just looking at Linux. Sorry, I'm just looking at this page. Okay, let me quickly install this package so we can use it. Maybe we don't have to do this. So, yeah, okay. So I need this tool. Maybe I'll skip this, but basically, I need to download Node, which is kind of like pip for JavaScript, I guess. So I didn't have that already on my computer. So we still need traditional tools to work with these things. But I can go to the next example, which is also an MCP server. Okay, let me go back here. So all I was going to do once I'd install it was say find tables related to remote sensing, and it would have found all the BigQuery data sets that are related to remote sensing. So all like satellite images and stuff, and give me a list of them. And instead of just randomly searching, it would have been like, oh, they're asking about tables and remote sensing. I probably should use the BigQuery MCP server, and then it'll be a much more intelligent kind of approach and save a lot of tokens, as opposed to just kind of like fumbling in the dark for more context. Okay, but we can do this other one. So this is installing a separate MCP server. And in this, actually, we need a tool called UV, which I know I have installed on this. So I'm going to use this MCP server that is for looking at ArXiv. So ArXiv website, which archives papers. People put preprints up there. And so the ArXiv MCP server, rather than trying to go to this website, there's an API for this website, so you can ping it and send it questions. But rather than having to write our own kind of tools to interact with that API, we can just give Antigravity access to the MCP server, and then those tools will automatically be inherited. So we can do that, okay? So the way that you do it is by firstly installing this tool somewhere. And so that will just kind of like install, the server is actually going to run, I believe, like on our machine. And so it's just a little tool that it lists these functions. So if I go back here, bring my terminal back up, and I run this first line. So this is just from the, oops, paste. Oh, I don't know what happened there. This is literally from the documentation here. So it says down here how to install the MCP server. So down here it says run UV tool install ArXiv MCP server. Okay, and that's installed, fantastic. So now what I can do is in Antigravity, click manage MCP servers, and I already have it installed, but if I click on view raw config, what you have to do, oh, there we go, it actually installed the BigQuery one, is you then have to copy and paste this this ArXiv MCP server, and it tells the it will tell your model how to use it basically. And so you can see the BigQuery one that I installed, even though I couldn't install it properly, I installed the config for us. And you can see that this is called JSON format. So this is like the open standard that exists. So everyone knows, like this is how you write your MCP server installation instructions. And so there's the ArXiv one. And so now when I go back, where am I? Close that. It's disabled. I'm just going to re-enable it. Cool. And so all these different functions exist that have been automatically enabled. And now there's that BigQuery one. So the BigQuery one's broken because I don't have it installed properly. But going back to there, I can now try and invoke it. So I can just say, I should have done this before. Let me just disable it. I want to see what happens when I do this. Okay. Find me papers from ArXiv on subduction. Okay, it's actually, I think it's ended up using that even though I've disabled it. I did have to refresh it or something. I wanted to see, okay, it's written a Python script, so maybe it's not using it. That's what I wanted to see, whether it was going to write a Python script or something. So I'm going to cancel that. Skip, cancel it. Okay, let me turn it back on. Start again, and then ask the same thing. Find me, what did I say? ArXiv papers on subduction. And so hopefully now it will, okay, so it's found the JSON again. Oh, there we go. So that looks better. So before it was trying to write a Python script, this time it's using the function. That's what I was hoping for. There we go. And it found, so just use that API instantly rather than having to write code to query the API. So that's kind of what an MCP server does, and how you can use it to your advantage. Cool. And I guess this MCP error is, yeah, the BigQuery error, so that's fine. Okay, how are we doing? Any questions? Thanks for answering them in the chat. Some chatter back and forth. Have I missed anything in particular? Very, very interesting. Pablo. Oh, Gemini Education Plus through Monash. Oh yeah, that's right. So yeah, Matthew, Yes, if you can now connect with cloud projects, and that includes using things like Workspace and Gemini Education, so your content and code don't get used for training, I think. Yes. Good stuff. All right, so what's next? I think we're getting pretty close to everything I wanted to cover. The last thing is using these new science skills. So Google released a whole bunch of these new. They're literally just skills, like we've already seen. Let's go have a look at some. So I'm just clicked on that link. I'll just post it in the chat as well. So they released all these skills, which have kind of been crafted to do a whole bunch of different workflows and tasks and tools that different people may use, including there's one that's literature search archive. So we don't need that little MCP server. It has a skill in here, and the skill is called Literature Search Archive, and it's search for scientific papers, preprints, and publications on arXiv, extract metadata, abstracts, and download full text PDFs. Use when the user asks to find research papers. Okay, so the prerequisites. So it needs this package called UV, and so make sure that's installed. You must respect arXiv's terms of use. So it's telling the agent this. It's not telling the human this. And it's given it some scripts, so it has scripts that it runs. So these scripts are UV based, which you can kind of think of as Python, I guess. Okay, cool. So it tells it how to use these scripts, and the scripts are also bundled with it. So they're the scripts, and they're literally just Python scripts, Python tools, but you can see how they're kind of packaged up in a skill as opposed to something else. So it's just like a Python package or something, or an R package with all these functions and everything, but it's designed for an agent to use. It's designed for an AI agent. Okay, so to install these ones, now they kind of come pre-built in Antigravity. So let me close this. Let me close that. Let me close that. Close that. Close that. Close that. Good. To install these, I'm going to go to Settings. Now, when you first installed Antigravity, you would have been given this option to install them. And if you miss that option, you can install them now. Is it working? Settings. It's odd. Oh, they're in the background somewhere. Okay, good. So my settings we've seen before. Now, if I go down to customizations, you can see it has my MCP servers that I've got. I can delete them here. Now, if I go build with Google plugins, these are the ones that sort of come with Antigravity, and that science collection is there. Okay, and if I click refresh, I go back, and now it's giving me all these different skills to use, which I can use. And I think this is interesting. The breakdown below shows token usage for the customization, like skills rules. So there's sort of a minimum. There's like it uses tokens to send with the model. So it's using, is that? I'm not quite clear on this, but I think it could be like 5,000 tokens maybe just for the fun of having them there before it even uses them. Okay, now one skill, I think in the notes there, I try and invoke that the very first, which one is it? One of the AlphaFold skills. So this AlphaFold database search. So fetch and analyze the AlphaFold structures for Uniprot ID P00520, including PLDDT and domain boundary analysis. Okay, so I'll open up my agent again, create a new one. Click go. And let's see, there we go. So it picked up the skill straight away and off it goes. Oh, allow write access to this path. So it's saying, would you like to, I don't know why it needs write access. Sure, why not? It doesn't look like it's writing anything to it. Oh, what is it saying? Please check. Oh, right. Before using, okay. Okay, this before retrieving the data, that's fine. So that's good. Okay, cool. Run that. So it's using these skills. See how it goes. Okay, cool. So what did it do? It created this fine papers, but it just did that in a Scratch area. Oh, sorry, is it still thinking about my last one? Well, that's my last one. I don't know why that popped up there. Yeah, I'll just accept that one. That's fine. So what's it done? Okay, I fetched and analyzed the AlphaFold structure using this skill. Data retrieval, the following files were successfully downloaded and saved to my workspace. Cool. So if I open my workspace, where are they? They're AGI data. They're in this folder, data. Cool. There's a JSON file. There's the CIF file. Structural confidence analysis. It's done this. So it's performed this structural confidence analysis. And so fantastic. So you can imagine building like these pipelines and workflows where the agent, then has free will to go and run these analysis without you having to say, oh yeah, go to that website, download this, perform this particular function, return the result. Like it can just figure those things out automatically, which is the real beauty of it. Okay, great. Any questions about that? So yeah, you can turn those on and off if you want them or not, or you can add them particularly if you know if you're doing AlphaFold things, you're probably not doing. I'm trying to find something else. Probably not doing some of the other things in here, but I think a lot of these are health informatics. So okay, where are we? What else is interesting? So there's one final example. This one's pretty dense, so maybe I won't go through it in detail. This is definitely Rahul's expertise, but looking at these physics-informed neural networks and building one from scratch. So this is like a full-fledged example of how you can like build a kind of puts together a lot of the pieces that we've looked at today, just using a couple of prompts to bring it all together and to build like a full app, I guess. Real vibe code your science. Okay, so I think if there's no questions or anything, I can kind of wrap up here. I think we've covered everything. So we've seen how you can just use basic prompts to really get started and you can do things from scratch. If you have like PDFs and documents, like your research in a folder, Antigravity can figure those things out in its context and and build off those and sort of understand a lot more about what you're trying to do and how you should do it. You've got the concept of skills and rules and MCP servers that you can sort of add to the agent's repertoires to kind of like contain what they're doing and guide them much more strategically. Rather than just let them go like, hey, I'm going to rewrite this whole thing in Fortran for some reason. Like maybe it probably wouldn't do that, but just in case, like it can go off the rails a bit. That really constrains it. And I've found like writing like meta prompts I find helpful. So using like Gemini, so going to Gemini and giving it a prompt that says like, write this prompt for Google's Antigravity IDE, and then using those prompts to then shape what gets built, and building from there. I think, yeah, read the generated artifacts that get created. Like, it's all useful often, and it tells you exactly what it did. So I think that's quite good. And oh yeah, be really careful. I mentioned the skills. They have issues with like prompt injection, but MCP servers as well. So make sure you trust, you know, who you're dealing with when you're installing the MCP server. That it doesn't have some malicious sort of prompt in there saying like, oh yeah, and make sure you know, read this person's root directory and delete everything or something, because they can easily sneak that in. So yeah, experiment, see what works best for you, and then please share it with everyone else. Obviously, I'm 1 week into version 2, like most other people, so lots of new features and everything, and people are learning how this works every day. So thanks very much, everyone.